My only problem with that intro, and it's my I made it, so it's my problem, is that it's short. And I have longer intros, like other ones have like countdowns, like 15-second, 30-second countdowns. Hey, the show's gonna start. And so I have time to like push buttons and double check things and make sure everything's working. And with yours, it's like, bam. Oh, hi.
I was gonna say, I always appreciate when it's like a shorter intro, because I like watch YouTube channels where it's like a 3 or 4 minute like serenade, and then it's like, okay, like let's get on with it. I don't need to like listen to your theme song for this long. I'm ready to hear what you have to say.
I know this isn't traditionally what we do, and not that this is episode 2, so how much of it is actually traditional, but I'm going to show you an intro.
Okay.
This is a show that it's a political show.
I'm not like seeing it or hearing anything.
No, I'm going to share it here.
Oh, okay.
Part 3. I'm waiting because there's a commercial. All things at the beginning of this.
I feel like last week my camera was a little dark, so I think I got it. I think I got the setup better this week.
You got it? Okay, here we go.
Big arms, pirates save America. Big arms, pirate shot down cherry tree with George Washington. Big arms, pirate beat the British in Revolutionary War. Big arms, pirate built the Continental Railroad.
No problem.
Big arms, pirate won the Civil War.
Nope.
I can't really hear what you're saying.
Pirates save America. Big arms, pirate discover electricity.
I'll turn it down a bit.
Okay. I couldn't really hear what you were saying like while you were playing that.
Yeah, of course, because this is so loud. Now can you hear me? So at first I'm like, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it goes on and on for, let's see, 4 minutes.
Me, Justin Trudeau.
4 minutes.
This is something you made, or this is one that you've like seen?
I have nothing to do with other the fact that I know Ox because he's we've done shows together on Player's Choice for basketball. Okay. I met the guy Pirate, and they were doing a political show, and they said, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, let's absolutely do it." I love talking politics because I say all the stuff that people are thinking but refuse to say out loud, and so they invited me on, and it was a great episode, and I loved it. And I'm going to go on the show again.
Oh, that's cool.
But I had nothing to do with it. It's 4 minutes long, and I'm like, it's good. I like it. It's AI generated clearly. 4 minutes to your point.
It's like a slideshow.
It's like a movie for like that's okay, maybe not a movie, maybe like a short story. Anyways,
they're like really setting the tone for the episode ahead of time with that.
It has nothing to do with the episode. That's just their intro every week.
Well, they really want you to get like hyped up about America with that.
Well, Big Ox and Pirates save America. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing. They put the crack in the Liberty Bell. They discovered electricity. It was fantastic. Anyways, my point was, yours is 7 seconds long. That's about 4 minutes and 7 seconds long. There's probably a happy medium somewhere there in between. So we'll get there. Okay. That being said, last week was the intro episode 1. And we got into kind of who you are, your background, and what we were going to hopefully talk about on a week-to-week basis. Well, when I say we, I mean you and your host. Yes. I'm filling in for those that don't know. The good news is, you know what? With all these buttons on my thing, like I've got everything, right? I got everything.
You didn't use any of those buttons in the first episode. I feel like we need to like use.
I didn't.
You need like a sound guy.
I don't even have a drum roll. So I was going to say, I have an announcement, but I'm like.
You're like too much to do at one time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got stuff. I just here. Like I got everything, but I don't have a drum roll. So drum roll. We have a host.
We do
We
have a host, a
we're not gonna-
co-host.
a co-host. We're not going to say anything other than she's coming in 2 weeks. Oh, I don't know if you know this. I also have like
Are you doing this on your phone?
no.
Oh, my phone does that. My like regular camera doesn't.
I didn't even know why it did that at first. The first time, like I think this is my confetti actually.
I think it usually does it on FaceTime only.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that. So one day I was counting, I was like 1, 2, and I got balloons. I was like, what the hell is that? I had to figure out what the hell it was. So drum roll, we have a co-host. She'll be here in 2 weeks. I think one of the best parts is she has known you for a very long time.
Yes.
So you're going to be able to, she'll be able to get more stuff out of her than I can. So that's coming in 2 weeks. Until then, you're stuck with me. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. When I did the drum roll here, it reminded me of something. Last week we were talking about, the weird things. The video that you had, the girl who made the macaroni and cheese and did the
Oh yeah.
What is the deal? And I don't know if you know this or not. What is the deal with like the people that are like
Oh, like the nail videos and stuff?
it's not no, they do something with the mic and they're like it's really weird. What is that? Do you know what that
I don't
is?
like the ones where people like the over noise. Like it'll be like the girls with the long nails and it'll be like them like grabbing things and like touching and it'll be like an over exaggeration of like the noises. Are you talking about that?
No, it's they do something with the mic and they talk like it's really weird.
It's making everyone think that they're hearing voices or something.
I'm scrolling through. I don't know if it was TikTok or IG, and I saw one. So I don't search it, so it's not big in my if you go through my feed, it's quite literally basketball like 9 times. Then you'll see football. Then you'll see. Do you know Skeletor from He-Man?
Did you know I just downloaded TikTok this week? First time. Like that was like one of my things that happened this week was I downloaded TikTok.
What's your username? Tell everybody so they can go follow you.
I did 2 accounts. So
why did you do 2 accounts?
Because like my Instagram is sort of a compilation of my entire life. And I wanted to separate my TikTok. So like I have one account that's at Casie Lee Shepherd. And that's more my like business account, more my holistic integrative health stuff. And then I did a second account that is it's at the Blonde Mountain. And that is a nickname that I have from competing. There's a funny story behind it. And so the Blonde Mountain account is a lot of my fitness, fashion, day-to-day life, tall girl, like random everything else. So.
Okay. And what is the story behind the Blonde Mountain?
So when I was competing, I was working out at LA Fitness back in the day in that time. And there was a client of mine that would work out with me on Saturdays. We'd always go on there together and work out. And this old man was always there. When I say old man, maybe like 60s, but like he was hardcore, like back in the day.
I was gonna say, be careful when you say old man, because
that's what I want to clarify. Like you could tell he was in good shape. Like he was one of the like OGs who had the high top shoes and the belt and like all the things at the gym. Nice. And so he would always be there like religiously on Saturdays. And there was some Saturday, I can't remember what I had going on. I had some appointment in the morning or something, or I was running late. And she was there. And I don't even think we'd ever talked to this guy. We always just saw him. And he was like telling this girl, was like, where is your friend? Like, where is she? And he's like, where is that blonde mountain? He's like, I want to climb that blonde mountain. Oh, so then I was like, oh my God, that's actually hilarious. Like, so then it kind of just stuck, the blonde mountain. And then that was always my hashtag, like in my competing days, was the blonde mountain.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
because,
now it's
just, you're blonde and that's 6'2". I'm guessing, were you the tallest competitor?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been some girls that have been my height, but yeah, at the time I was.
It's not common. It's not common.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was in physique, I was not in heels, but prior to that, I was in figure, which is what I started in, and I was in 5-inch clear stilettos on stage. So I just looked ginormous.
My generation was a tall drink of water. We wouldn't know, not the mountains.
Ginormous. Well, you're the one who said giant in the description. I thought we were saying tall girl, like Amazon. You're like, she's a giant. I'm like, okay, we're taking this to another level.
Get SEO'd better. You have to optimize for views. You know,
I was like, whoa,
me,
that transitioned fast. Okay.
People always ask me, they're like, I noticed I get a lot of grief on my IG account. Like, why do you post this stuff? Like, do you hate certain players, NBA players? I'm like, I don't hate anybody. But if I put this in the description and these hashtags, more you dumb. I hate to say this. More of you dummies are going to click on it. So what do you giant? I'm sorry, it SEO'd better. You're just stuck with it. We wanted to get into I'm so off topic because I was supposed to talk about something else, and then this whole thing with the microphone got me twisted. We want to give everybody though insight into you, but also health tips, because that is at the end of the day, that is what you do most of the time.
Yeah.
So do you have something ready, or what have you been focusing on this week?
I mean, I'm constantly doing a lot. Like, I have 3 huge screens. A lot of the internal testing I'm doing is very extensive, large reports, and they're different depending on who, but I kind of compile a lot of the things that I'm looking at over and over again, or the things that I'm seeing constantly that I can kind of carry over, because a lot of this stuff is so in depth that if I'm going to talk to you about Akkermansia bacteria, you're not going to care what the hell I'm saying. You're just going to say, okay, why does this matter to me?
I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Right. It's not going to make sense to you. So I try to put things into perspective, make it something that makes sense to people. If they're interested and think that they have stuff going on, then it's time to educate and do a deeper dive. But a lot of the things that I'm seeing in men and women, especially now, is estrogen dominance issues. And that comes down to a lot of environmental factors, food issues, like hormone issues in men and women is like the highest it's ever been. And there's just several different ways that happens. And one of the things is like liver and gallbladder health. And it's one of the main things that can contribute to like low testosterone in men, or like estrogen dominance in men and women, because men can get high estrogen levels as well. And women often do, even if certain blood levels are reading a certain way, because there's different kinds of estrogen. So my big thing for this week is like focusing on like liver and detoxification. And a lot of that comes down to intake of fiber, because we always heard about fiber being super important for just like your gut and cholesterol.
You're being regular.
Right, being regular, but it does more than that. It's feeding your healthy microbiome. It's creating bile flow and your ability for bile to pull things out of your liver and digest fats properly. So there's a lot of other things that people are lacking with that. And then just normal, fat intake, making sure you're getting in enough of the healthy fats that help your liver detoxify. There's certain enzymes that your liver produces that help detoxify estrogen, and this can be something that can elevate in people who can't detoxify, and then they're just recirculating hormones.
Okay, so let me ask you. So you said there's certain things that help with that. What are some of those foods or things?
Yeah, so like specifically for estrogen, the fiber is huge. It helps bind fiber and pull it out. Raw carrots are amazing for fiber health. Like eating a raw carrot a day is specifically binds to fiber and pulls it out. But getting like 25 to 30 grams a day of fiber in their diet, if you're somebody who's really sensitive to fiber, you might have other gut issues. There are certain fibers that like feed certain kinds of bacteria. And if you already have an overgrowth, it can cause a lot of that digestive upset. So a lot of people who have digestive issues that they're unaware of tend to stay away from some of the fiber, which kind of can start to make things worse over time because they don't know what to stick to. But there's certain things like dandelion root tea, healthy fats, getting in your fiber intake. I love like castor oil liver packs. I don't know if everyone's going to order one of those and wear it at night. But dandelion root tea.
Nobody knows what that is. Hold on. No, and what you just said, no one has any idea what you just said.
Castor oil. Have you heard of castor oil before?
No, you said something they're going to wear it every night.
Yeah, so castor oil is like a kind of oil. It comes from a seed.
What's it
And
called?
Castor oil.
Castor. I thought you said castrol, which is
No.
what we put in our cars, and that's why I was really confused. Okay, castor oil.
Castor oil. It comes from a seed.
Castor
Yeah.
oil. Okay.
And you can use it for a lot of stuff, but it's really good at like penetrating through a certain barrier of your body. It's like one of the only oils that can do that and break down biofilms in your system. So people use it on their skin and in their hair, but you can use it like there's a whole thing about putting it in your belly button at night and it like completely detoxifies your system. I've done it before. It's pretty strong, but you can wear it.
Rub it on?
You can like if you at night you can put a little bit in your belly button. It sounds weird, but you can do that. But they make these pads that you can tie around your waist, and it's like a lined pad. So you would put like a tablespoon of it on the specific area and wear it over your liver and tie it on at night, and it pulls biofilms and detoxifies the liver because it can get that deep into your gut.
And what if you don't know where your liver is?
You should look at an anatomy chart because it's right under your right rib cage.
In the front?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. You know, like a lot of people will feel like a pain there or like a little bit of discomfort every once in a while. And sometimes it's like you have maybe issues digesting fats or you have like some gallbladder issues or bile flow issues. And so that's kind of like a big indication. If you've got discomfort there often, it's kind of like not a good sign, but the liver packs are awesome.
I want to go back a second because you had mentioned eating raw carrots.
Yeah.
So just rewind a sec. And you said 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day. For someone that has never, like, they're like, they're hearing this and they're like, oh, this makes sense. 25 to 35 grams means what to them?
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to being more.
A handful? Is it a scoop? Like, what?
Depends on what kind. There's several different kinds of fiber.
Yeah.
And everything's going to have different amounts. So it really just is like, look at the labels and it will tell you exactly how much. Like if you eat a cup of broccoli, it's going to have about 4 grams of fiber in it. Okay. If you have, some bread might have like 3 or 4 or 5 grams. So a lot of it's focusing on green veggies that are high in fiber, doing that at most of your meals, like actually chewing it so you can like digest it well. Your grains, you can get fiber to add to things like Metamucil and like some of these crappy fibers that you get at the store are just full of other crap. So there's better forms of things that you can add to stuff, but just being conscious of, looking things up. It's very easy to look up how much fiber is in this or look up on the label to see and just start paying attention to how much that you're getting in.
Okay. Is that our tip is increase our fiber?
Yeah, increase your fiber. A lot of it just has to do with nutrition overall. Yeah. So what I'm just saying, hormone balance in testosterone for men and women is a huge overarching thing. There's a million things we could get into, but I just want a short tip but it also reminded me of another question. Sure.
And yes, very much squirrel, but so be it. I'm only here for 2 more weeks. I heard that because you had talked about estrogen in men. Yeah. And I heard soy milk is something that elevates males' estrogen and women for that matter, but specifically because the person who was telling me this was like, I'm getting these boobs and it's because I'm drinking soy milk. And I went, really? Is that true? Do you know if that's true?
Is this person also eating like crap outside of?
Listen, I know them, so for sure they're eating crap.
Yeah. So I mean, there are several factors in this, but I will say on the whole, I am not a fan of soy as a food source, not because there aren't some nutritional benefits of it, but because it is considered what they call a xenoestrogen or a phytoestrogen, and it has to do with the chemistry profile of the protein and the food itself. And it's like environmental estrogens, where you have toxins in perfumes and chemicals in your detergent and stuff. They mimic estrogen because they are so closely related to the hormone profile itself, and it has to do with how they bind to the receptor. So back to chemistry class, you have like the little, whatever you call them, profile of, whatever it is. It might have one extra branch, or it might be missing one. It is so closely related at a cellular level that those things will bind to the receptor site and mimic estrogen in the body. And so that's why they tell women phytoestrogens, because it can help release some of the depleted estrogen symptoms that they have while they're eating a lot of these foods, because it's binding to the receptors and helping reduce some of their symptoms, like hot flashes for women or whatever. But in men and in most people, like, we're already bombarded with so much of these xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens and stuff that it's like we don't really need to be supplementing and getting a lot of this stuff in. So for some people, it can be a problem. Other people may say, I've been eating it forever and I don't have a problem. Well, you might have an amazing detoxification in your body. You might have a great profile already.
Yeah. I know you're going to hate what I'm about to say, but I've always said that to a certain extent. Of course, there's exceptions and blah, blah. But I've always said, I always feel like everyone I talk to, it's more about them individually than this hierarching. If you eat this, this is what happens to your body. And I always use this horrible example. I grew up, spent a lot of time in a retirement home. My mom worked in one, and I went and waited for her, and we drove home. That's in case anyone's wondering, why am I in a retirement home? That's why. I used to make money pretending to be someone's grandchild, but no, I did that too. But that's a different story for a different day. This is about you. This isn't about me. And so this one woman would like run, and she would go skating, and she was like in great shape, and she ate healthy, and at like 87, dead. Her best friend, who literally, as she's finishing one cigarette, she would pull it out and use it to light her next one.
Yeah.
Sounded like this.
Damn.
I kid you not.
Damn.
Yet she lived to be 104.
Right.
And so I was like, so it doesn't matter what you put into your body. Now, granted, that's an exaggeration to say it doesn't matter what you put into your body. I'm using this person as an example, says like, and I said, what do you mean you're soy? And he said, yeah, well, my wife got me onto these, won't mention the name, but you'll know, grande low-fat soy vanilla lattes. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, is that the reason? So that's why I asked the question.
I mean, if he already was a high aromatizer, meaning he makes a lot of estrogen or already had sort of an estrogen issue, and if he was not the healthiest person already or not, whatever, he probably is somebody who's more sensitive to that than normal. There's a lot of different factors, but again, like, you can't compare also people back in the day that were smokers to people now, because they didn't have all of the other toxins on top of it that we did in addition to everything else. So there's a lot of different discussions that can be had about what people got away with before versus what they do now. And not that none of that is true, because it is, but there's always too many factors. But yes, that's why I always like preface everything I say with like, this is how it works, and this is the reason. Right. And
now,
so
how that affects you individually.
Yes. So like on the whole, this tends to be an issue, but is it for everybody? Absolutely not.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I want to transition from health, but I think I do. But that's but add more fiber is our, if I could encapsulate add more fiber is our tip of the day.
If you're a man and you're crying often, there's a problem happening. And you might need.
I thought it was just because I'm sad. Those long distance commercials though, like, they get me every time. So that's our tip, and the reason I say that's our tip is because what I think is a great idea is every week to like have a topic and say, hey, let's help with one thing at a time, and then as you guys watch more and more and more, add in the comments, whether it's whenever on whatever platform, what do you want to know?
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue. What do you want to know? For my next question, which is, what are the top 3 questions you get in your? Do people reach out to you other than on social media? Like, do they send you like letters, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, anything, or is it typically?
I like to not let people know where I live for the most part, so no letters.
You shouldn't tell people then Scottsdale. They'll find you.
Sometimes emails.
Say you move back to Minnesota.
What?
Tell them you move back to Minnesota or Iowa or something.
I will. I'm gonna give them your address actually, and we'll see what comes through.
I know you don't have.
That would be actually kind of a fun thing. That would be interesting.
Give them my address? No way.
Yeah. And then see like what you get in the mail.
No.
And you can open it on live.
How about we do like a PO box? I got a family. I don't want.
I have a PO box.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I know, but it would be more fun for you to open it. I think.
I have all my stuff sent to the show I do Tuesday nights, Fluent and Chill with Chilltown Hoops. I give everybody his address in Florida. Sorry, Jay. I love you, man. Where was I? What are the top 3? You could start with we could start on a grander scale if you want. Like, what are like the 3 main topics, or if you have specific, like, oh no, I get these 3 questions all the time. It's up to you whether you want to go big like topics or if you want to narrow it down to the specific question. But what are the top 3 you got?
About like anything or specific to
anything?
I feel like you could already probably guess a few of them. I know 2 right off the top of my head. Number 1, what size shoes do you wear? That's number 1.
Do you okay? Let's stop. We're gonna tackle each one individually. Do you ask them like, "Are you gonna buy me shoes?" Or do you respond, or do you ignore them?
No, I just think I don't respond most of the time.
I don't think anyone has ever asked me. 13, if anyone wants to know, and feel free to send a pair of shoes to her PO box.
I don't feel weird about my size of shoe, but when you ask me that question specifically in a DM, I know what you're getting at. Like, it's not because you're just like, God, she's so tall, and I'm just really curious.
No, maybe they are curious. Like, I know someone who, and I'm again won't mention any name, who he's a little bit shorter than me. I think he's like 6 foot. And he's got like a small foot, and I always tease him that he's gonna fall over because it's size 9 or something. You tip over. I think it's funny, but I'm mean. You don't think anyone's just curious? They just
No. I think they have a foot thing and they want to know, because like after last week, I sent you immediately the first comment I got on my TikTok when I opened it was something about my toes and how I was
thing. Yes.
Yeah, it's like your second toe is longer.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It is. And they know how to go zoom in and see and look, and they're on it.
I don't know about all that, but I asked my dad, who's a 85-year-old Greek man, and he said, absolutely, that is a thing. The second toe means you're a Grecian god or goddess. So now, so maybe they're just trying to figure out if you're like a Wonder Woman or something.
Well, they know they don't care how long my toe is. They want to know how big my feet are.
But maybe that's like a bit. Is that like the first question? Like, not even hi, how are you? Like, just hey, how big are you?
Okay. Yeah, they're all related to like how. So the other one is how much do you weigh, and then the other one is how tall are you, and how tall am I is right in my profile because it's so often asked, and it's the reason I stand out. So it's literally right in my bio. That's why I have it there. But I don't feel the need to put my shoe size or my weight right in my profile like I'm getting ready to like go to the combine or something, you know?
Have you ever gone to a combine?
No.
Like when you play basketball, because I know they never got to do like they measured like did they do like your wingspan or everything?
No, I mean I've seen like I had lived with a few guys in college actually in the first place that I lived, and they were all football players, and so we, they were always doing that stuff and talked about it, but I never got to see it.
Oh, okay. I think it's a good experience. You should try it even now. It's fun. I'm serious. It's
gonna be
interesting.
like slow motion, like 50-yard dash.
But Mrs. Fluent tells me all the time I'm a unevolved because my wingspan is like 6'7" or and a bit, and my height is 6'3", and so your wingspan's supposed to be your height exactly.
Okay.
Are you aware that?
I know I measure mine at one point. I should do that before next week and see what mine is. I don't remember.
And so they'll call me like a knuckle dragger because I got longer arms. And people are mean to me. So where was I? Oh yeah. So yeah, the combine will be fun, but isn't it? I thought it was supposed to be inappropriate to ask a woman like her age and her weight, not the height so much, but the weight.
I think so, but I think people are like, I think they don't understand like muscle versus height. Like, and I do think that's a hard concept because with shorter people, it makes a little more sense. But with taller people, it's like, you tell them your weight and it sounds heavy, but you're like, oh, you're also 6'2". So I think in people's minds, it's confusing especially if they've not been around a lot of tall people, or especially a woman,
Are you open about that, or do you care?
I don't know. I just was posting about it. I am 177 this week. I've been like, since July, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of want to lean out again. So I'm down like 17 or 18 pounds or something. Just was like, yeah, I want to like be a little bit leaner again. Like,
no,
with bodybuilding and stuff, it was just, we weighed in college. So to me, it's not weird. Like, I think if a guy came up at a bar and was like, how much do you weigh? I'd be like, fuck you. Do
they ever come up to you and ask you how much can you bench?
Yes. mostly towards the end of the night when they think they're being funny and have nothing else to say to me, but
So I shouldn't have laughed when I said that. I thought it was funny. No, but I think you're right about the tall thing, because even as a guy, like I'll tell people like I don't feel great. Like at a point I had gotten up to, I'm less than this now, but I'd gotten up to like 280, 285, and they're like, there's no way you're 285. I'm like, nah, and they're like, really? And like, you carry it well. I'm like, no, it's just stretched out over a little bit more.
Always what they say. You hold it so well, and you're like, well, you haven't seen me in a swimsuit lately, have you?
Yeah, I was like, you haven't seen this part. I hide the belly. But yeah, that's what they always do. Oh, you hide it or whatever, or they don't believe me, or like people who see me every day. I always say this all the time when we watch the NFL draft. They'll announce somebody up, and they'll be like, oh, look at it. He's 6'1", 220. And they're like, whoa, he's huge. I'm like, I'm literally 2 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier. And they're like, yeah, but we see you every day.
Right. Gosh, and it's funny.
Proportions are different is the problem.
Well, I'm like, I was a basketball player, and then I got into the bodybuilding industry, and then I was around people like that a lot. And now, like, I think basketball players are so skinny. Like when I see them, and I'm like, I never obviously saw them that way until where I'm at now. And I'm like, I meet guys my height, and I'm like, they weigh the same as me. And I'm like, that's not.
Do you know that if you go by the health food standard things, a guy my height's supposed to be supposed to be 185. So when I go, do my physicals or whatever, they say I'm morbidly obese.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, I go, there's no, now, am I overweight? 100%. But 185, I'd look like a rail, like, ugh. So it's very interesting how those things are looked at. So I'm actually surprised that it was shoe size, waist, and height.
Shoe size, weight, and height. Yeah.
Because height is
or it'll be like, are you single? Or like, it's never really like some booming health question for the most part. Like,
do you get those at all?
I mean, I do get health questions, yeah, but it'll mostly be in response to something I post or whatever. It's never like the same.
You post you're like, hey, can you tell me more about those fibers that'll make me whatever? Okay.
Yeah, or do you see this, or is this a thing, or whatever? So, I mean, it's not all weird things, but
Well, because I'm going to ask you about a weird thing because I saw it the other day, and because I was looking like when we're looking to do the show, like I'll go and actually not just for you. If you go to any post, the funniest thing, whether it's TikTok, IG, don't go to X, mind you, but X. If you go, I mean, go there. Support Elon. Hey, Elon Musk is going to lose his Canadian citizenship. Story for another day.
I can't get into my Twitter right now, so I'm trying to figure that out. My ex. I don't know. It has like a weird email associated with it, and I'm like locked out of it.
Well, the funniest thing to do is doesn't even matter the post. Just go read the comments.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. So I saw one, and I'm curious how you deal with it. Are you a man? Because initially I'm like, that's so ignorant. But then I see a high school boy dominating these girls in basketball. I'm like, all right. And we're not going to get into politics, by the way, or religion, unless you want to. But when someone says that and they're blatant, and you know that they're not like, hey, are you a man? Like, it's not in a good way. If that can be done in a good way, they're clearly trying to be jerks.
Yeah.
Is it ignore? Is it block? Is it how do you like? Do you ever? Because I'm guessing you don't. But do you ever respond?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last time. I made the little like clapback reel with the one guy's comment on the last one. But I mean, often I don't respond or I'll delete it. I mean, it just depends, I guess, on my mood and like what the post is or whatever. But I'm like, I don't have some dainty high pitched voice. Yes, I'm probably bigger than a lot of dudes, but I'm like, I'm still not jacked beyond belief, or like I've got veins coming out of my ass like some of these chicks that are competing. You know what I mean? Like and so to me, I'm like, I don't feel self-conscious about looking like a man or anything. I used to get that a lot in Minnesota, you know, not to get to politics or anything, but because there was a lot of some of that stuff going on there.
Yeah.
It was more prevalent. And then I think the people that would say stuff like that are the ones that are like, I'm so attracted to you, but I'm also like confused of my sexuality. So like, I'm just, instead of wondering, I might just call you a name to make myself feel better, or who knows? Like, I feel like there's always a reason behind the comment, whether you're insecure and you know that you could never get somebody who looks really good, or you are confused about your own sexuality and it makes you feel better to make fun of other people. I mean, there's always something behind it, you know, like.
Can you rewind a sec? Because you said something about, and I do need clarity, and I'm sorry. I know we're not supposed to talk about this, but there's a lot of what in Minnesota?
Like a
lot of transgender?
Yes.
Really? I would never have guessed that.
It's you see more of it in certain states of certain, you know, Minnesota is more of a liberal state. And so they're more, you know, for that. So there just is more of that.
Wait, is Minnesota really? I don't know. I'm a Canadian. So I don't.
We're Minnesota right by you. What do you mean you don't know?
You're nowhere near me.
Basically an extension of.
It's close to the border of Canada, but I'm way over on this side. Hold on. Minnesota's a blue state, I guess is the term.
Every year.
Really?
Yes.
I would have totally thought the opposite.
Yeah, and it's funny because everyone thinks that Minnesota is just a bunch of like white Scandinavian people walking around, but it is like a very diverse cultural state. Especially
I would have bet $1 million. It was literally a bunch of Vikings with boats and hammers and pillaging towns. If you would have asked, like, you know why? Because I watch too much football. And it's the Minnesota Vikings. That's all I see.
Right. Yep.
It's totally not that at all. I had no idea. I've spent almost, I know I've been, but I've spent zero time. Like, people always laugh at me. They're like, you've been to all these places, but you haven't been to all these places.
Yeah.
And what that means is when I traveled for work and I would like fly in. So I would see the airport, maybe a hotel, a convention center, and then whatever I'd see driving by. But I literally was in Alaska. And while in Alaska, I saw a man fishing by a glacier and a bear 20 feet away from him behind some trees. But I was in a car driving by, going to a meeting, going, wow, he's either going to die or catch a fish. Like, I don't know which is going to happen. And so that, that's why I always laugh. When I was in South Dakota, I want to say, right? I drove by and could see Mount Rushmore, but I didn't go to Mount Rushmore.
The one time I went to Canada was in Vancouver, and it was like back in my early 20s when I was doing some photo shoot stuff, and I literally flew there to do like a couple indoor shoots, and we were like by the beautiful ocean, all the stuff. Literally never went to one thing that was like more than a block or two away, and like went home. Like never saw the beautiful city of Vancouver, like saw the ocean from my hotel room, but yeah, kind of same thing.
I went last one on this. I went on a cruise, and cruises stop and you spend like the day somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, my wife's always like, you didn't go there. You didn't go there. You didn't do anything because you literally got off. You had a meal. You walked around. You didn't experience it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine. But I can say I've been to 48 states.
Yeah.
Iowa and Rhode Island, still on the hit list to make it 50.
You're not missing much there. I've driven through that state so many. When I used to make that drive to Colorado, I would do it in a day, and it would be down to Iowa.
Oh, because you're coming. Okay.
Across the whole state of Nebraska, into a little bit of Wyoming, and then down. It was like literally the most boring drive of my life. But you could speed through Nebraska because it's like the flattest state you've ever been to. Yeah,
you could see the cost from. They say you could watch your dog run away for 2 weeks. Wyoming actually is the best story. Do you know the movie Back to the Future?
Yes, I've seen the car. They had it at the whatever car show up here in North Scottsdale. Yeah,
I'm driving. I'm moving from Denver to San Francisco, and I'm driving there. And so I believe the route takes me kind of up through Wyoming. I think I stop in Utah for the night and then finish through. But as I'm driving through Wyoming, I get pulled over. And the cop has, like the big highway patrol hat thing with the chin strap, not under here, the chin strap like in front where it's like this.
Like a jaw, like a wrestler.
Yeah. So he comes over and the first thing he does is unclip. I'm tanned. He thinks I'm Mexican. He told me so. I know. So it's not like I'm not being. That's what he said because I was darker. And so anyway, so he flicks up and so he's open. I'm like, oh, this is how I die because I know I was speeding because I had a long drive and I was speeding. And so he comes over and he goes, and he unsnaps. No, he unsnaps. He goes, how fast you were going? And I said, well, I believe it's I had my cruise control on at 78 maybe because I know it was 70 I think or 65 whatever the hell it was. And he goes, I clocked you at 88 miles an hour, son. And I, being me back then, say, oh, too bad I wasn't driving a DeLorean. I could have went back in time and driven by you slower. And he says, that's funny enough to get you out of a ticket. Slow down, straps up and leaves.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And so I'm like driving through the rest of Wyoming, like, did I just get away with that? Oh, this is pretty good. So anyways, that's my Wyoming story. We're gonna end the show today on this question. That went by I know we started late, but that went by really fast. For those that are here, stick around. NBA Max is next. Our NBA panel discussion. We're going to be talking about the NBA All-Star games, the injuries to Victor Wembanyama, and doing a little NBA trivia coming up next. But you had said one of the most common ones is, are you single? So dating when you are 6'2" and guys are asking you those questions. Do you do it much? Do the short kings have a chance? Like the old man wanted to know to climb the gold mountain. Like what is?
Am I the gold mountain now?
Blonde. So see, it was the first time I heard it. I don't know. What does that look like?
Are you asking me if I will date a short man?
No, I mean that's one of, yes.
Okay.
Or what do you consider short?
My two last serious relationships, they were like a half an inch shorter than me. But
okay.
they were bigger guys. So,
This
but
one.
I do, like just muscular, like not like obese men, but like they were.
Although
not my thing, being in the health industry, but yeah. But
yeah,
I guess
would be interesting. I'm a health guru. Come look at my 400 pound.
Yeah.
That actually be kind of funny, but yeah, sorry, go.
I love the way your head works. Yeah, no, I beyond like that threshold, and then if you don't make up for it and your size in general, I couldn't do it. Like I feel like I have a strong presence and I need to feel that with somebody. So yeah.
So it needs to be either this way or this way, but still.
Yeah, but I can't date like a tall, lanky guy either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not just a height thing. I mean, a lot of it's your presence, but then like you just can't be like a frail, and not even you might not be frail, but like skinny, like a skinny guy who's.
Are you familiar with? Do you still follow the NBA at all?
A little bit.
So like no Brandon Ingram.
I'd have to look him up.
He's about this.
That's probably not. If my leg is bigger than yours, it's probably not going to be a good fit.
Well, that's because most of them skip leg day.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I know. Like, yeah, it's weird to look at.
Or you could be like me and never have a leg day to skip. All right, that's the end of Casie Unhinged for this week. You're only stuck with me for one more week, and then the real co-host will be here. Final thoughts for what's coming up, what people should do. Obviously, our health tip was increase that fiber intake. You get the last word, and then we say goodbye.
Well, we missed half the juicy stuff for this week, so we might have to talk about that next week. Did
we really?
Some of the DMs, some of the people in the DMs, some of the people that have slid in. So we'll have to chit chat about that one next week.
Because we've got people in DMs. We got now. There's some. We use the term celebrities, but are they all pro athletes? Are there any actual, like when I say celebrities, I mean like actors and musicians, or is it mostly pro athletes?
I mean, if they're probably musicians, but none that I would actually even know. But yeah, for the most part, they're all athletes.
All right. So if you're in the comments, here's the challenge. I'm going to clip this too and put it on TikTok. Here's the challenge. You ready? Guess the pro athlete that slid into the DMs, and if anyone gets it right,
guess which one. Which one do you want them to guess?
Yeah, they got to guess which pro athlete.
Well, there's a lot of them.
Well, you want to give them like 5, and they have to. I didn't want to.
If it's one of them, I guess that they guess, then cool.
Is it a specific from a specific league? Like, are they NBA, NFL, MMA? Like what? Or are they?
There's no hockey guys. I don't know any hockey. It would be like NBA, NFL. There have been some baseball. There's, probably every other one, but hockey, I would say.
I don't even know any baseball guys. Let's be honest. All right, so let's.
I don't either. Sometimes I don't even know who you are. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, if you don't know Brendan Ingram, yeah, it's pretty. He's very uniquely skinny. All right, so that's it for this week. So next week we're gonna start with the health tip, and then we're gonna get right into the juicy stuff. I promise everybody we'll get right into the juicy stuff. That's on me.
You teased them all about the DMs this week, and we did talk about the question. So we did talk about
the question. Next week it's the celebrities. Until then, join us next week. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. But it's what, 7 for you?
8.
Oh, right. Until we fall back.
9.
Is it 9 now?
Oh, no. Yeah, 7. It's like right now it's 8, so I'm confused. We start at 7 p.m. my time. Yes.
Yeah, 7 Pacific. No, 7 whatever Mountain.
I'm confused right now.
See, that's why Eastern time. 9 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned for NBA Max. This has been Casie Unhinged.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man,
Call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.